Hi, today is October 27th, 2024, and here are my poems for the day. The first one is poem number 1670 for the year, The Way Art Makes Me See. Often in art galleries, I'll be struck by some element of the gallery in addition to the art being shown. A table, an empty chair, for example, and for another example, a wooden post, a photograph of which I turned upside down so that the lights on the ceiling looked like lights on the floor. The last time I went to Chelsea, I saw a few wonderful works of art, too, but sometimes what I like even more than the art is the way the art makes me see things that are not ostensibly art. Poem number 1671, Uncharismatic Leader. The acolytes would often ask themselves why they were even in the cult when their leader was so uncharismatic. He had a horrible resting bitch face and a horrible habit of leaving bits of his face unshaven. He had one of the least inspiring voices you have ever heard, nasally and weak, and his speech was often tentative, as if he was uncertain that the things that he was saying about the nature of existence and the key to happiness and the way to be free were actually true. Fortunately, though, his acolytes saw something in him, and they embraced his teachings, and they found enlightenment, and they were released from the bonds of the material world, which goes to show that one can be helpful and that one can lead, even if one is not very charismatic. Because believe me, this guy was not very charismatic. Poem number 1672, Silly Putty Planet. Life on the Silly Putty Planet was an awful lot of fun. You could fuse yourself to a building or a tree and then separate. You could dive into a swimming pool and be one with the pool and then separate. You could press yourself to a newspaper comic and then separate and retain the image for a time. And fucking was more fun than I can even describe. And to make a baby, you would just take off a piece of yourself and merge it with a piece of someone else. You could even merge it with the pieces of several people. Polygamy was totally acceptable on the Silly Putty Planet, not taboo at all. And the political situation was stable and equitable and extremely conducive to cultural and economic and all kinds of other kinds of progress. Damn, I'm making the Silly Putty Planet sound so good that I'm starting to wish I could live there. But this world has some fine points too, and I like my apartment. But I've got to admit, the more I think about Silly Putty Planet sex, the more I want it. Poem number 1673, In Pursuit. She spent a lot of time in pursuit of her interests. If she wanted to improve her foreign language skills, she would spend hours on Duolingo. If she wanted to paint a tree, she would spend hours studying the tree and then spend hours painting. If she wanted to perfect a song, she would spend hours getting it right. Hours and hours and hours in pursuit. It was admirable in a way, but also tragic, because she never seemed to pursue happiness the way she pursued her interests. If only she were to spend even a tenth of her hours in pursuit of happiness, she would be ecstatically happy. She has made some beautiful songs and works of art, and she can speak to people from all over the world. I could say, I guess, she knows what she's doing, but I am not always so sure that she does. Poem number 1674, Flight. They flew as high as they dared, until the air was thin and breathing became a challenge. Then they dropped down and glided and soared, swooped up and down, and the flapping of their wings, and the chirping and the cawing and the singing, and the path of their flight in the sky pointed the way, and those who cared to follow followed, and those who cared to remain remained, and the flight continued night after night, and day after day, and night after night. Poem number 1675, The Examination. After deciding that he ought to be taking a closer look at his thoughts, he examined the next three that came to mind. The first thought was of chaos, and how multiple unrelated ideas could merge and emerge as a solution. The second thought was of cunnilingus, and how he could simultaneously change and be changed by what his lips and tongue touched. The third thought was of consecration, and he saw himself impaled on an altar, altered in mind and body and soul. Although he deemed the examination successful, he had to stop, as it wasn't practical to look at every subsequent thought. But he promised himself that he would soon look again and see what he could see. And the last poem of the day, poem number 1676, it's a haiku, Discovery. An unknown waltz found in the Morgan Library. Lang Lang plays Chopin. cheated a little there. But check out the newly discovered waltz by Chopin. The Times has it, and you can probably find it elsewhere. Lang Lang playing it, etc. Anyway, I appreciate you.